Namaste everybody, Irina here. Welcome and thank you for joining me in this yoga practice, which is called Sleep Well Yoga. And I'd like to bring a bit more subtle intention to this practice. So it's going to be a more yin-like energy rather than Vinyasa Flow, which is very muscular, very young, very active, very dynamic. So I'd like to step a little bit to the opposite direction and think about slowing down, softness, that feminine energy. And it doesn't mean that this practice can only be done just before going to bed for a better sleep, but absolutely not. If you woke up in the morning and you feel really stiff, maybe you feel really tired in the shoulders or just sore from the exercises or from the night before, and you still want to move the body, however you want to exercise some cautious, you don't want to overdo it and make it worse, perhaps this could be a practice, a gentle, soft practice that you can use for that purpose. Remember, it's all about the intentions that we're bringing to the practice. For those who don't know me, I am a certified yoga instructor. I do usually teach from Vinyasa Flow. However, I start incorporating more of a yin style elements into my own practice and into the way I'm teaching, just because probably I'm getting older and I just feel like this is lacking in the life. Okay, so we're going to start with Balasana, the child's pose. Most of the poses, probably actually all of the poses, will be supported by the floor, so we're not going to have any standing asanas or sun salutations, and I would recommend to have blocks and bricks with you. So the child's pose, Balasana, is the more of a restorative pose. You can take it in different modifications, so different ways that you can go into Balasana. You can have your knees open and have your big toes to touch, so we are opening up here and then bringing the chest closer to the body so the back will be nicely rounded. You can extend your arms forward, just making sure that you don't have this electric-like numb sensation in your hands and into the fingers, because sometimes it can indicate that the nerve is trapped. So if that's too tight, maybe extending your arms to the sides, that will release the pressure on the upper arms. If that's too much into the groin, into the hip rotators, so maybe bringing the knees together, perhaps supporting your forehead, something that you can rest your head and not strain through the head. Notice the sensations in the lower back, in the middle back and upper back. Notice the sensation in the underarms, the chest, the belly. On the inhale, the belly rises, presses into the thighs. On the exhale, the belly drops to the spine. And let's start introducing a very gentle movement. So bring your arms behind you, interlace the fingers. Maybe just explore opening through the shoulders, maybe bringing the arms up and away, or maybe resting your hands on your lower back, or maybe on the buttocks. Maybe then start moving through the shoulders. So making circular movements in and out. And then bringing, if you have the block, bringing it away from the body. Position your hands in front of you and then brush the tip of the nose on the floor and then round through the back. You may want to extend your knees width hip apart. Inhaling, pressing into Balasana, and then extending through the spine, and on the exhale, flexing through the spine and moving the mat away. And here you can create your own tempo, maybe going a bit slower or perhaps going faster, so choose your pace. Okay, maybe you want to start creating number 8 and have a bit of a different movement. So maybe start circling the hips, bringing the weight slightly forward. So imagine that you want to draw a figure 8 with the body and follow that movement when you draw that imaginary 8. And notice what movement does it require to release perhaps somewhere a trapped energy, stale energy. And then a couple of cat-cows, so your traditional inhaling, arching through the back, rolling the shoulders back, exhaling, rounding through the back, looking at the navel, inhaling. Let's arch, look up, stretch the throat if there is no restriction and you're okay to compress the back of the neck. Exhale, round, and look at the navel. People with lower back issues, being careful with the flexion of the spine means that you may need to modify and not go way too much in that flexion, or perhaps even avoiding the flexion at all costs and coming into the neutral. And then perhaps just extending slightly, stretching, and back into the neutral, or very microflexion in the back. Okay, a few more rounds of dynamic cat-cow. And when you're ready, let's bring ourselves fully down onto the floor, laying on the belly, and bringing your forearms, so your elbows are just underneath the shoulders, and you can interlace the fingers here, or you can keep the forearms parallel each other and press and encourage back bend. Keep your toes pointed. Keep your shoulders retracted, keeping the chest open rather than hinging. We want to bring that expansion to the chest area and looking up. And notice, how does the upper body feels, especially your shoulders, the chest, and it's a back bend, so compression of the lumbar, your lower back, also sensation could be in your mid back. Remember to engage the glutes. And then exhale, release to the floor, bring your hands this time under the shoulders, and we're gonna press into the hands and coming into Bhujangasana. If that's too much, I feel for today somehow it's too much for me, so I'm gonna back down slightly and I'm gonna do the baby cobra instead. So it's still a back bend, so we still have got all the benefits on extension of the spine, but we are not forcing it. And from here, let's press into Balasana, because we need to rebalance the body. That
extension of the spine, taking to one extreme maybe, and just rebalancing, retweaking the body and going a bit on the opposite direction. The flexion of the spine, and a few breaths here. And peel the forehead off the floor, release your legs forward, straighten them forward. And coming into Paschimottanasana, your Western fold. So I'm already start preparing for the pose by moving the flesh away, and I want to make sure that I'm tilting forward with the pelvis. So paying attention to the hamstrings, you may need to really bend your knees. For some of you, you may need to even support something underneath your knees. Could be the block, or could be just a jersey, a towel underneath. Okay, inhale, let's bring the arms up. And on the exhale, we're gonna fold forward, but this time I'd like you to round through the back. So remember, it's more of a yin-like practice. So I want to get a bit more a restorative version of Paschimottanasana. So I'm rounding through the back rather than keeping it very young, straight back, and we are being really active in the shoulders. No, I would like you to still lengthen, but allowing the softness to come into this asana. Making sure that your shoulders are away from the ears. Deep breaths, and gently bringing the forehead away from the legs, bringing your right foot inside of your left thigh, Janu Shirshasana. If you need to bring the block underneath the knee, just to support if you've got a really big gap and you start feeling the pinching sensation in the, an uncomfortable sensation in the knees, the pain in the knees. So making sure you're supporting your joints, bringing the arms up, twisting towards extended leg and folding forward. Again, maybe starting at the shin level, maybe starting at the ankle level. We all have different range of motions based on the type of the body. So really listening to your body. Listening to that feedback. Trying not to think about how I look aesthetically, but rather than, okay, where do I feel the sensations? Where I can feel that I'm stressing the muscles, I'm stressing the joints. Is it safe? Where I feel those sensations, they may not be pleasant. They're pulling, slightly numb sensation, but there shouldn't be any acute pain. And very gently bringing the other side. So Janu Shirshasana on the left side of the body. Okay. Inhale, bring the arms up. Twist towards extended leg. And on the exhale, folding forward. So we are working here. There are multiple areas that you can bring your awareness. So that you could be your hamstrings on the right side and feeling that pull in the hamstrings. It could be sensation in your groin because we're outside rotating the left hip. At the same time, because we're folding forward, you'll feel the sensation in your back, and I especially feel it in the side of my ribs. And breathing deeply. And Gently coming out, bringing soles of the feet together away from the groin. If we wanted to work a bit more yang style, Baddha Konasana, a variation where the heels are close to the groin and we are actively working on the adductors. So I would like to take an opposite approach. Let's bring the feet away. Just notice, okay, do I need to support? Are the sensation too strong here? And I need to support both of my knees. Inhale. Let's lengthen, and on the exhale, perhaps bringing the hands on the top of the toes, and then folding further, allowing the gravity to take you to any point in space. Maybe you need to use the block and position it just in front of your feet, so you can rest the forehead if you're feeling that you're straining too much on the head, in the neck. So supporting your forehead. And let's breathe into the groin. And gently bringing the forehead away. Okay, let's get into another extension of the spine, but this time I'd like you to use either a book or a block or a brick to support your sacrum. When coming into the pose, we are starting with laying on the back. Your heels are close to the buttocks. I would recommend to have it about a brush of the middle finger towards the heels. That's the position that we want to be in. So lifting your pelvis, and here you may need to use the shorter edge or the longer edge of your brick and position it to just underneath the sacrum. So I want you to have the back bend, so trying to avoid putting your brick into the lumbar. Now we want that arching to occur, and position it just to, it's about, I would say, about coccyx way. And here I'm still pressing with the shoulders, but I have a very grounded support by that brick of my weight, so I'm not overwhelming the lumbar, but I keep still squeezing the bum and I keep the body active. The pose, the asana, is quite yang energy, but bringing that support and maybe allowing yourself to soften slightly, because that lumbar arch, so we're still compressing the lower part of the back, your vertebrae, but it's a bit more, I would say, nurturing way, a supportive way, allowing that support to be there for you. And very gently, let's bring the hips down. And let's bring the thighs closer to the chest, your knees to the chest. The lower part of the back may lift and you'll feel a slight curving of the back. And maybe you would like to bring some movements into the hips by opening them and rotating them in and out. And let's extend the right leg forward. With your left bent knee, let's drop it to the right side, and simultaneously you're going to rotate the body. So the lower body rotating towards the right, but the upper body rotating towards left side. So we're coming into the twist, and here you may need to use the blocks. The block may go under your left shoulder if that's a bit too much, or you can also support your knee with 1 or 2 blocks. Extending both of your arms to the sides and looking over the left shoulder. Or you may want to bring the arms up. By changing the position of your arms, you'll start noticing what different sensation it brings into the body. And let's gently come into the center with the knees. Okay, maybe bringing your head away from the floor, rolling into the ball, and then extending the left leg, and with the right knee, let's bring it to the left side. Extend your right arm forward and just trying to soften. Again, notice, right, do I need to support somewhere because I can't really let go? Because it's just too much. Maybe your knee, the distance between your knee and the floor is quite, there is a big distance, and then that affects the sensation in the body. So just trying to bring that support, trying to bring that nurture, that feminine energy, that yin energy into the practice. Remember, we're looking towards the right side. Again, you can try and manipulate your arms, try different position and see what works for you the best. And very softly untwist back into the center with the knees. And once again, we're gonna curl into the ball. The twisting is a beautiful way to reset the nervous system, probably also to get the twist into the abdominal organs. So when we untwist, we've got like oxygenated, that fresh blood, taking the toxins away. Very gently, we're gonna rock forward and coming into the cross-legged seated position. If you do need to elevate the pelvis by using the block or the brick underneath the sacrum. Just take your time here to assess and to, probably the better word would be to notice, because assessment would imply that we need to execute the judgment. And here I'd like you to just be aware of, okay, what does the body feels? How does it feel? What's my mental state? My emotional state, what do I really feel? And from here you can draw both of the palms in front of the heart, keeping your chest open. And to conclude this practice, you can bow forward. Namaste.